Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome everybody. This is the Klassie Kafe, the show that has more twists and turns than a roller coaster designed by George R.R. Martin. I, of course, have been host Klassie Kyle, and my guest this week is the true embodiment of the underdog story. He was a kid growing up in the dull, harsh streets of a post-apocalyptic city, or as the locals call it, Sheffield. Please welcome my wonderful guest, my longtime friend, main event Muzzy.
Hey mate, how are we doing? It's an honour to be here actually, mate. Thank you for having me.
No, it's great. I knew I had to have you on at some point because we've got a lot to discuss, especially because you've had a kind of a tough year, really, haven't you? Really, it's been up and down.
Yeah, like I say, it's been up and down like a roller coaster. You're not kidding.
How going to sort of back to where you're from and being a wrestling fan growing up, you know, what was it that sparked you? What was the thing that made you go, I want to do this for the rest of my life?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a story I've not told for a while, to be fair, because mostly when I've told stories, it was mostly in the classes that I've told it. But like, obviously coming on here now, getting to explain my story, it's honestly, it's going to be one for the ages, hopefully. Fingers crossed. My love for wrestling started when I was 10 years old. Obviously, my cousin at the time, he was a massive wrestling fan. He's not anymore, but like, obviously, he's a year older than me, so he was a big wrestling fan at the time. Back then, it was 2009. Obviously, with Prime. Obviously, you see Prime Cena, Prime Orton. You know, that's when it was all WWE was like crazy in that era. And I went to go watch a wrestling show in Sheffield Arena, Mortarpoint Arena, and literally went with my dad, my uncle, obviously my two cousins. I think my auntie went as well, can't remember. And we went there. I saw the show, and obviously I fell in love with it. And at the time, like obviously me being 10 years old, obviously at school got asked a question saying like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And me, I did not know what path I wanted to go down. And then when I saw John Cena obviously lifting up the WWE Championship, I knew that captured my heart there, like, yo, I want to do that. Yeah. Like, it's just my love for wrestling just started there. But obviously going through that time, I didn't know like how to get into it. So
no, I mean that's the thing.
Yeah.
I know from growing up here in Derby, there really wasn't anything like that at all, you know, going on here. And out of nowhere comes the Aspire Wrestling Alliance. And what was your first time like when you first came? Because I remember your first session. And how nervous you were.
I was very nervous.
You soon very much became part of the furniture.
Yeah, I remember, I was at college at one time. This was 2019, I was on my last year of college, and my friend Ryan, who used to be the referee here, obviously he was on the same college as me. My friend at the time, Dan, I told him that I was a big wrestling fan, so he came up to me and told me about Aspire. I said to him, like, well, I've always wanted to do it, but I didn't know where to look. And obviously, February 2019, that's when I came to Aspire Wrestling, and I met Paul. Obviously, Paul introduced himself to me, and I was very nervous, I was shy, I was very, like, not confident, if you're like, I was very...
No, we can't get you. We can't get you to actually be quiet now, because they out of your shell pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think if I'm quiet, I think, you know, something's up.
Yes,
so that's how I see it now. But yeah, no, I remember doing the first bumps. Obviously, this traditional thing when you start wrestling is like, you know, you start your hard to bump.
Yeah.
Hard to bump, like your back bump, front, your flips, and your handstand one. Obviously, I was terrible at handstands. I'll admit that. But and then after the first session, I'm there like, remember in a conversation in the car, like on the way home, and someone said, "Do you want to keep going?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." Yeah, I want to keep going.
And of course, you had a bit of a background with karate.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
Something which we have often put to the test. You know,
yeah.
But judo versus karate.
That was brilliant. That. Yeah. So before I started wrestling, I did karate for 6 years. I got to deputy black belt, but I never got the belt. Yeah. So then I realised that I fell off with it a bit, and then I thought it's time to hang up the belt on that one.
Yeah. But your real passion was here.
Yeah, my real passion has always been wrestling. Actually, funny story, before I did Aspire, I did a bit of Olympic wrestling for a little bit. It's quite a weird... So I had a little bit of background with wrestling. So obviously with mat wrestling, it's like what we're doing now. You know, kind of when I'm looking at the mats, I'm thinking like, okay, this is like takes me back a bit, like to mat wrestling. So I thought I'll try and use that into my style a little bit.
Implement it a little bit.
Yeah, implement it, which to be fair, it's helped a lot, obviously with the technical side of things. And obviously, yeah, so then, like you said, wrestling's been my passion.
Do you feel like, when people talk to you about training and stuff, like, do you ever feel like those personal experiences you have help you along your way, kind of sort of morph you into the type of competitor that you're going to be? Those sort of...
Yeah.
Because I feel sometimes having come from a judo background that my styles almost like accidentally on purpose become so much influenced by what came before. And
obviously what I've learned from karate, like from wrestling, is like defense stuff. So it's like if someone throws a punch, like most people they'll I see most wrestlers, they'll catch it, they do a quick block then punch. With me, I'm just like, get that reaction, like block, like a high block, obviously from the strike to trying to hit you in the head. Block, and like, block again, block, and then bang, and I'm like going into my comeback. It's like going into what I do.
And you've always been able to kind of take a beating and keep on coming back. And I mean, we have to broach the subject. It's literally on the table. You were known as champion, and you were adored. You were definitely a fighting champion, and then unfortunately, it was taken from you.
If you remember from This Means War, Rich going up to Nate and obviously the Wilsons, like saying, "Oh, yeah, you think you're tough because you beat me," and obviously I wasn't going to stand for that. You know me, I don't stand up for people picking on people. So I stepped in, I put the title on the line, and to be honest, I thought that he was going to give me like a one-on-one fight, because obviously I've never beaten him at that time. But then obviously we all know what happened. Like obviously the Enterprise, they came in and obviously cost me the first run. So that's obviously when I lost this the first time.
I mean, he went on that for so long about how you had never beaten him before, and then of course to win it back from him, that must have been a huge moment for you.
Now I think about it, it is. Like, because I work so hard to try and improve myself. Like, even, like, you've seen me in training, you know how hard I go at it, and how much, like, dedication, consistency, like, hell, I've come in sometimes when I'm ill, and I would still train to try and, like, just see what my body can take, how far I can go. Because obviously it was still in my mind that I'm not beating Rich, I'm not beating him, and then when it felt good to finally beat him, and obviously becoming the first ever two-time No Limits champion, honestly it felt like, I'll give credit to him, like he gave me a fight. I'll give credit to Rich, he gave me a battering, but like we made history. We made history, and obviously it was an honour to have Doug Williams being the special guest referee for that match, honestly. And winning this for the second time, it's an honour.
So of course, we have to then ask the question, because last month I was down by the bar having a drink with a couple of the guys, and then of course I saw you versus Darius, and I have to tell you, just as a friend, I was never more concerned about it. Because I just knew how dangerous Darius is, and to see you go up against him, almost punch for punch. It was kind of like pulling that victory out of your hat. Has it built your confidence? What was your mindset going into that match?
Well, because obviously at the time, obviously I was competing for the Spy Wrestling Championship, where we had a summer 16 qualifiers tournament. Like I say, I got the letter. I've been invited to compete in this tournament, and I was excited. Like I told my mum, I told my dad, and I was like, let's do this. And obviously I had to put the No Limits Championship division aside to focus on that. And obviously after the tournament, obviously opportunity knocks. Obviously I lost, but it is what it is. It's an opportunity, first ever opportunity knocks rules match. Anything can go. Champion doesn't even have to be pinned to win the match. It just became like a fatal five-way in the end. And obviously I didn't win that. But when going in my mindset to Darius Flint, my mindset was trying to get this championship back on the pedestal. So my mindset is like, okay, he's a big guy. Obviously he's a big guy, he's going to be more stronger than me. But try to go back to the old roots of my former tag partner, who I used to team with, taught me some brawling style, so I had to resort back to the old ways of how to deal with someone that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, I got the victory. But fair play to Darius. Honestly, he did give me a battering as well.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
of course, then was where do you go from here? Because you've said you're going to be a fighting champion.
Yeah.
And after that match, you made it very clear that you were going to continue to be. In fact, you know, I felt awkward about asking you this question because I know how much this means to you.
Yeah.
You laid out a challenge to Paul Mailer.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Paul has been a staple here at Aspire since the very beginning almost, and he's been head trainer here. He's very much the reason that we are doing this right now.
Yeah.
So for you to lay out a challenge for him, I mean, what was your mindset? Why did you say that's the guy I want to fight next?
It's a very good question, actually. Going into this match with Paul Mailer, because obviously he helped me through some tough times. You know, he knew exactly what I needed, and you know, this is my way of like saying thank you, just to give him a shot for the No Limits Championship. And we both had our battles. Like, I've watched his matches, he's watched mine, and obviously we've both been through tough battles, but obviously physically in the ring, but like mentally, like we've gone through in our personal lives. But I can tell you about what I've been through. Like, this goes back to a memory during when COVID was over. Yeah, obviously COVID, that was a terrible year for like, obviously the people all around the world, and coming back in 2021, training again, and then obviously at that point, like, I got the most devastating news in my life. And obviously, hope you're okay with me saying this, because obviously at the time that my mum found out that she had breast cancer, and it hit me like a ton of bricks to the point that I was gonna not be here anymore. I was gonna like quit and focus on like my job, and obviously getting money in and make sure that we like, you know, help pay the bills and do everything I can. But then one time going to training, obviously I told Paul this, and then obviously my mum said to me, don't quit wrestling, don't quit, because she knows how good I can be. She knew exactly that I needed this. So I told Paul everything, and he helped me out so much, and obviously he helped me get through the toughest like time of my life. And obviously when my mum beat breast cancer, it was the massive weight on my shoulders, and obviously it led back to the championship. When I've won it, like everything I've been through, all the bullying, like all the negativity, and obviously going through that time when I won this, it was the massive weight off my shoulders. And honestly, Paul didn't like what I needed was to keep going, and he knew how to motivate me. If he wasn't there, I don't know if I would have been here any longer than I should have been, really. But honestly, this is my way of saying thank you.
And so then, bearing that in mind,
Yeah.
he's been out of the ring for a while, but he's a
Yeah.
wily old veteran.
He is, yes,
So
yes.
this is going to be tough. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what are you doing to prepare for it?
What am I doing now? What I do to prepare for it at the minute, I'm training harder than I've ever trained before. And obviously I keep saying on the post, like, yeah, I'm going to get ready for this match, I'm going to train harder. But honestly, this, to me, like, this is the biggest match of my career. And I'm going to keep training harder and harder. I'm feeling fitter and the best shape of my life. And honestly, I know Paul's he's going to know all my moves. He's going to know everything about me. But hopefully, it's literally student versus teacher. It's once in a lifetime, and obviously I am ready for November 16th.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, at Destined for Glory, we will see you versus Paul Mailer, and I wish you all the best of luck, Muzzy. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I can only hope that, well, we're going to have a hell of a match anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
So,
I'll try
whatever the
my best,
result is, we will see how that goes. Of course, thank you, Muzzy, for joining me here today, and
Yeah, thank you.
until we see you all next time, remember, folks, if we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you did but slumber here while these visions did appear, and this week an idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Stay classic.